Hey guys, let's talk. I haven't done a lot of those videos, but I was talking to my friend, and she said we were talking about currently what is how everyone is kind of feeling down, and there's a lot of happening. The energy goes up and down in human resonance. The energy of the earth is going up and down a lot, and a lot of clearing is happening. A lot of uncertainty. So it's a very, very low energy. And a lot of us are going back to dealing with our abandonment issues. And I have a lot of clients with abandonment issues, anyways, because we are all, again, grown up with abandonment issues. So I'm currently reading a book, and so this is kind of also an understanding from my book. The book is called Magical Child, and it is written in 80s, and it talks about how our birth is, especially people who are born in 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and it kind of starting to change a little bit, but not majorly. The home birth is coming more and more known or more acknowledged, and so is breastfeeding and skin to skin thing, but we're still far off of actually having this a very good understanding of the birth and how birth our infants or our newborns are born into a world of abandonment. I did a video a few months back about abandonment issues, and I did scrape the surface there as well. How we're born, or our abandonment issues, we all have it because we're born in an environment where abandonment was not, and it wasn't kind of considered. But a lot of our shifts in energetic problems are lying now on because of this. Long story short, what happens in a birth when we are born in a hospital? It's not in a home birth or ward birth. When we are born in a hospitals, yes, Kian. When we are born in a hospital, first of all, we are born in a very, mothers are drugged in a lot of ways. Some are not, some are. And as a mother myself, I got epidural for both of my kids. Do I not have lack of knowledge? Let's say, advice I was given, and lack of understanding of fully of it. Now being like older and more in tune of that, I found there is more kind of, it's very one orientated, medically orientated or scientifically orientated, and let's say I had a lack of knowledge in that a lot of ways. So a lot of mothers would have been are and would been in the past drugged in a lot of ways, of gas or anesthetic, mostly anesthetics, and so the children already are born with little tiny bit of it takes an hour to get into the infant's or the newborn's body from mother's body, their drug. So if you're being in under anesthetic for 6 hours, let's say epidural, then more likely your infant have had a dose of epidural themselves, anesthetics in their bloodstream from that time. So we are actually birthing kids on very unnatural ways. We should be able to move around, but because of anesthetics, as a parents or mothers, we are not. And as much, I'm sorry to say it, but I actually I enjoyed both of my kids' birth, but both of the times I was in anesthetic, actually enjoyed less of my son's his birth than I did enjoy of my daughter's birth, because of they just handed it out like it's sweet, and that's another story. So we're giving birth in a very unnatural ways. And the point is that soon as the child is born, and where we go back to this, our abandonment issues. So when the child is born, instead of having skin to skin, in the between 1950s and 2000, when hospital birth were coming in, and it was nearly coming in also as a business, because babies need to be born, and if you wanted to birth at home, a lot of the ways, more towards the 80s, 70s, 80s, it was kind of looked frowned upon and kind of considered as a child endangerment, so it wasn't allowed in a lot of ways. It kind of more hospitalized. You had to go to hospital to give birth, or you had to register at a home birth, and a hoo-ha. And especially that is the, like in Ireland, England, and no, it was like in Soviet Union where I was born the same way, where home birth wasn't that kind of natural, considered natural, when home birth actually is quite a natural thing. So when the child is born, most of the babies are not, their cord is cut very, very quick. They're not swaddled, like they're not put at skin to skin to mother, they're put it on the scales, they're put a tubes in it, they're weighed, they're swaddled up. And so this first, let's say, even first half an hour of the birth, from the birth of the child, when the child is actually looking for a connection with their mum, their matrix, who has grown them, they know the sound, they know their smell, they know their taste, they're whipped away from the mother, wrapped into this kind of blankets, anything cold cotton blankets, put it into this cots instead of mother's lap to be nourished, and given a formula to eat. So everything what they have learned within a 9 month, what as baby, as a human being, you have learned in the 9 month in the womb, and should be a normal stress, because the birth itself is a stress for a baby, and when they come out, then they should get the relief on the mother's chest, knowing that the smell, the taste, everything, it's all whipped away. So the baby's brain hasn't really reached to that point of stress relief. Okay, so the baby's brain stays in stress because there's nothing what they knew. Nothing for 9 months or 5 months or whatever the gestation, the brain starts to kind of learn the patterns within your, how she walks, how the mother walks, how she smells, how she tastes, what the food she likes. It's stripped away. So for a first hour or two, this baby is so stressed, the infant is so stressed, the brain is so stressed. So they start to take kind of safe place to be considered of not anything what is non-human, that blanket they're wrapped in, that cot, that bed. And that's where our first off and abandonment issues comes, and that's also where our materialism comes, where we are looking at things as if, when we get the feeling of buying new things or owning a lot of things, and we feel safe when we do that, because that kind of helps our cover up our abandonment issue. It's like, this is a safe thing, this is a safe place. If I look anything, if I have loads of fancy clothes, I put the clothes on, I feel safe, I feel fabulous, rather than having a human contact and having a bonding with other human beings. So this pandemic and COVID-19 situation, it's very easy to tell people, stay home, don't talk to your loved ones. But if you have been grown up in an environment where you were, let's say, home birth, and you were bonding with your parents, and now you're stripped away and cut off them for fully, it's very tough for you. But it's very easy for people who don't have a bonding with their parent, and they've been stripped away, and they have connection, rather feeling safe about having the scarf or fancy scarf and da-di-da-di-da, then it's good for you. It's easy for you to say, don't go to see your parents, or don't go to see your friends or family, because you don't have that bond. Your abandonment issues can be demolished with buying new things. And there comes also the keeping up with Joneses, when you're trying to kind of feeling better and safe when you have better things, and it's an vicious circle. So I do understand of people who are who get that bond in the end. Let's say if you're a person who are finally getting this bond with another person, and your subconscious brain of the infant newborn brain starts to understand, hang on, this is the human being, this is the connection, what I need. Let's say this is where this kind of a distorted relationships are coming from, when you're attaching yourself very hardly on the people. There's actually nothing bad about it, or toxic relationships, sorry. But this is when you understand that you need to have this connection with this other person. This is where, how to put it, we just overwhelm our brain with it. We just attach and we don't want to let go. And it's, you know, I watched the TV and someone said, it's so wrong that if you love someone, you let them go. No, if you love someone, so you should be attaching, you don't let them go at all. And that is where it comes, like when you're starting to understand, or when you're tapping in that abandonment issue, what has been growing in your subconscious since you were a newborn, you start to attach, you're looking for bonds, you're looking for bonding for the people's friends, but then again, it's just trying to impress them with the better things. And when you find that person finally, and you really attach to that person, and you don't care, or do they want to bond with you or not, because the love is coming out from you, and the love what you needed when you were a baby. So yeah, I'm currently dealing with, this is myself a lot. I feel a lot of sadness, but it's not only my sadness. I also pick up my sadness from my kids. No, they weren't really whipped away. They were all the time with me, from the birth down to now. They still do have, and I can like recognize some of these issues from the birth, but it's not as intense, or it doesn't have that much anxiety in it. And I'm dealing with it now. I'm working with it, and they're just still young. I can still turn it around a lot, and that's good. Like but like even understanding your own abandonment issues, understanding that hang on, that wasn't actually your mom's fault. It was society at the time. That wasn't your fault. It's not your fault. Like I'm saying, acceptance is the first thing what you can do to improve your own environment. So accepting of your abandonment issues, that hang on, that's where it comes from. That's why I want to bond with people. That's why I attach to people, and that's kind of when you learn to really heal yourself from it too. And I do want to put on an point as well, that our parents are not actually really, a lot of the parents are not guilty, or it's not their fault of a lot of things what we are dealing now. But it's also, you have to remember, if you have kids are not that resilient. They said the same thing about you when you were 6, and if you're dealing now with issues from your childhood, that's the resilience. So just try to remember that. And your parents were dealing at the time when you were growing up with their crap from the past. And you have to kind of remember that the society was different, and the society norms were very rather strange as well. So this is all I have for you. I hope it helped you. I didn't mean to talk about 15 minutes, but here I am. And thank you so much for joining, and I hope to chat to you soon.